Hi, I'm Dawn Nelson. I'm teaching Social Work 422 this semester, Integration of Practice. So for those of you who don't know me, this is my 5th year as a clinical instructor for Texas A&M Commerce. And then I also have a private practice in Rockwall County. So I actually use these theories on a daily basis, not all of them every day, but I use a lot of them and I mix and match kind of that same way y'all are being taught to do the generalist eclectic model of you use what works each day. So I really love this class because it's actually the hands-on of how do I take these theories and start applying them. So hopefully by the end of class you'll have an idea of which theories makes good sense to you that you think you might be able to use a lot and which theories you're kind of, I don't know about that one. That's good because that's a starting place. But the most important part is you can start identifying how to apply them with clients that you're working with, or if you're working with an agency, how they apply macro, because sometimes they do. And I know some of y'all will end up doing macro and not just micro. I usually, my bias, I'll talk in more of a micro setting because that's what I do. So first things first, if we look at your syllabus, as you know, we're going to be web-based this semester for the summer. So here we go again. Um, Hopefully things have gotten a little bit calmer in your neck of the woods and you feel better about being able to do all the stuff online. I know I miss seeing y'all and having that interaction that's spontaneous, but we're doing the best we can. So, as I said, my name is Dawn Nelson. For those of you who don't know all these initials, I'm a licensed clinical social worker supervisor. That means that licensed clinical social worker means that I have the right to do private practice. And then the supervisor designation means that I can help other people who are LMSWs and seeking their LCSW to get that. It takes 2 years of supervision under a state designated supervisor, which is not the same as just a supervisor who's somebody at an agency. It's somebody who's actually taking classes. I took my classes from Dr. Openshaw. So it means that somebody's taken those classes for supervision to become a supervisor. And then the LMSW spends 2 years under them receiving supervision. So that's what that is. If you decide to go ahead with your master's, then you'll hear a lot more about that because I talk about it. Dr. Openshaw talks about it. LCSWs tend to have more job opportunities and also they can do everything independently. So that's the difference between that. The ACSW is the Academy of Certified Social Workers. That's equivalent to a board certification. Um, I don't use it for a lot. It just means that you've done some extra work and stuff like that. If you're taking insurance as a private practitioner, then that means a lot because the insurance companies look for that board certification. I stopped taking insurance a few years ago. It was taking up to 9 months for them to repay me the money as I turned in requests for client payment. But what the ACSW may help you with is that I used to write test questions for them. So they actually trained me how to write questions that are very similar to the questions that are going to be on the licensure exam and your comp exam. The SAP is the U.S. Department of Transportation Substance Abuse Professional designation. When anybody who's involved in transportation, a train engineer, a pilot, a truck driver, anybody like that either gets in an accident or they test positive for either alcohol or a drug, they get sent to an SAP. And the SAP then does an assessment and an intake, figures out which kind of treatment they feel like the person needs, sends them off to that treatment. The person gets the treatment and then they return to the SAP. And at that time, the SAP looks at all the information that the other therapist has sent over and also how the person is doing and makes a judgment call on whether that person is safe to return to federally mandated transportation. So whether they're safe to fly a plane again, or rather they're safe to be on the road as a trucker or a train engineer, anything like that. The thing that's unique about this is that the client is actually the United States citizens, is not the truck driver per se. My job is to evaluate and see if the person's safe to be working within the United States. So if I decide they aren't, a judge can't even change that. What that means at that point is they would have to get a different kind of job. So it's a pretty serious designation. And by the way, it's the hardest test that I've ever taken as far as certification tests go. The last four letters, the CART, is Certified Anger Resolution Therapist. Obviously, a lot of people deal with anger. A lot of times it's depression or frustration or sadness or hurt. So that's a certification I use a lot in my private practice. Technically, I'm based in the Metroplex Center, as you know, but this semester we will not be there at all. So you can email me at this email address. Do not use this phone number. It's Metroplex Mesquite. I'm not there, so I'm not getting any messages that go there. So make sure you email me. You can also ask questions on D2L. I specifically put over here on the left-hand side under week 1 this assignment questions discussion area where y'all can just reply and type in your questions about any of the assignments. And then that way everybody can see the answers before, so everybody doesn't have to re-ask the same question 5 times. That way it's there for everybody to look at. So the book for this semester, hopefully you can see it, is Theory and Practice of Counseling and Psychotherapy, 10th edition by Gerald Corey. This is the gold standard of therapy books. In fact, it's such a gold standard that here's the book I used back when the dinosaurs roamed. I used the 2nd edition when I was in grad school. So it's that serious that it's a book that you may want to hang on to because you find yourself using it a lot. And especially if you want to go to grad school, then it's a good textbook about the basic references of all the different theories and how to do a little bit of how to do the counseling with them. So that's the book. You definitely need it. So if you have not bought it, buy it fast. And then we're going to go down here, policy on due dates. The assignments are due on the time listed at D2L. There's actually the paper and the exams obviously will have a certain set deadlines. The group project, y'all are each going to have a different presentation date, so we'll talk about that in a second. First things first, the theory paper. You're required to assess and apply the practice theories to a case review, and it's worth 100 points. We'll talk about it more in just a minute. Then there's going to be what's usually 2 exams, but since we're doing this online, I'm going to kind of give them to you on the same day, so you'll have an extra week to do them that way, as opposed to having 1 week and 1 week. I'll just give you the whole 2 weeks. Anyway, so each exam is worth 100 points, so that adds up to 200 points for that. And then the group project, most of y'all will be in groups of 2. There's 1 group of 3. You're going to be assigned to do a presentation and teach the theory that you're assigned, and that's worth 100 points too. So let's see, the rest of this is just kind of the usual stuff. I'm going to let y'all read it instead of boring you by reading it all out loud. Down here at the bottom is kind of a course schedule, but it doesn't give you a lot of information because so much of it is personalized. So it's week 1. We're actually going to do the overview of chapter 1 and 2 today in a separate video. And then in week 2, instead of having a presentation, I'm going to do chapter 3 in ethics. So the presentations, the group projects, will actually start week 3. Y'all will keep on doing those. And then in week 9, I think we have 1 more presentation that week. In fact, I'm sure we do. And so then the paper is due that day, and this is the day that the the exams will go open, so then you have these 2 weeks to do the exams. So we will go ahead and talk about let's do the presentation first because that's what I have here. So for the group presentations, I just kind of randomly went from the beginning and the middle or the beginning and the end and added people in here. So group 1 will be presenting on June 15th. Don't panic. I know y'all are doing it the first time, so that will be taken into account. But y'all will be presenting Gestalt theory, and that's Bobby and Yesenia Lopez Ferrer. Group 2, June 22nd, we'll be doing existential theory, Anna Karen Camacho and Michael Morales. June 29th, Group 3, person-centered theory, Alexandria Cox and Picola. July 6th, Group 4, narrative theory, which I believe you'll find in postmodern approach part of the book, Yesenia Davila and Maritza Ruiz. July 13th, Group 5, here comes the 3-person group because cognitive behavior is a pretty big theory, Marissa, Taylor, and Kiana. July 20th, Group 6, solution focused brief theory. You will also find this in the postmodern part of the book, in that chapter. Tradicia, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, because I know we don't know each other yet. And Samuel Valencia, Venezuela. Okay, I give up. It's been a hard day. Samuel, you know you. July 27th, Group 7 is Adlerian theory, and that's Melissa Lewis and Erica Velasquez. Like I said, I just kind of took names, haphazardly put y'all together, and gave the 3rd person to cognitive behavior because it was big. And then I just went down and used the theories out of it. So there's going to be, these theories are mentioned in your textbook somewhere. So what you do with it, okay? First of all, you take a big deep breath because this looks more complicated as you read this than it is. I'm just trying to make it more comprehensive because I know you're reading it as opposed to talking to me in class. So you're assigned to your group. You're going to provide a comprehensive presentation on this assigned theory that you have. The presentation will include a PowerPoint instruction of the chapter, an applied demonstration of the theory, and interaction with the audience. Your individual grades may vary depending on your participation. So the idea is that whichever part you've researched on, that's the part that you should be presenting also to the class. So theoretically, you should be recording your PowerPoint the way I'm recording this right now, where you have the PowerPoint up on the screen, but y'all are talking, or it can go from y'all talking to the PowerPoint, whatever works best for y'all. Anyway, so number 1, you have to create the presentation by recording yourselves for it. And what a redundant sentence I wrote, right? You're teaching the class what they need to know about this theory. So you're teaching them for the test. So y'all make sure you cover the whole textbook chapter and any additional information you've found from other reputable sources. Note that I said reputable sources because there's some things that may not be scholarly or peer-reviewed, but it's still a really good source teaching you how to use this theory. So those are fine. I'm going to trust your judgment there. You have to create a YouTube channel and upload your presentation onto the YouTube. Remember to use a name that sounds professional for your channel so that you could put this presentation on your resume. So one of the things that's happening is there's a lot of bosses and administrators who aren't very good online. So when you are doing your resume and you're interviewing for your jobs, one of the things that might be a selling point for you is that you do have this knowledge of how to use online and how to do YouTube and that sort of stuff. So I want you to think about how you would put that on your resume. But when you tell them, oh yeah, I did this for a class, it would be really nice if you could say, so, I could give you the link and you could go look at it. And that would impress them even more. So one of the things is, just like your email address, make sure you have a professional YouTube channel name. Don't name it something funky or cute. Name it something that sounds professional. So number 3, YouTube may sound intimidating, but there's step-by-step instructions for how to do it. I put the link here, but I also put the link on D2L that should be a live hyperlink that you can go to. If those links don't work, just go to youtube.com, look for the help, look for there's, I think it's called YouTube Academy. It's got the help section in there of how to do this. Number 5, you can add any other links into your discussion thread for the demonstrations and the interactions, and or you can upload other content, like if you have papers, things like that, slideshows, and or you can use the discussion thread. So if you want people to reply in the discussion thread, you can use that too for your presentation. So under whichever week that you're presenting, that discussion thread will be open and ready, and I'll open it, so I'll have something in there that says, okay, group discussion about Gestalt. And then the 2 students that are doing group discussion in Gestalt, one of y'all upload your link to your YouTube and your links or your content, anything else you need. So you're going to upload this stuff by 11:59 on Sunday night, the day before it says your due date, so that as of that Monday, your classmates can go online and they can read your stuff. Classmates, audience, y'all need to read the stuff and do whatever they are asking for your interactive portion by Wednesday night at 11:59 p.m. So what this does, this means by Sunday, the presenters will have it up for Monday, and then the audience will respond by late Wednesday night. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the following Sunday, the presenters can then answer any questions that the students are asking in your discussion area. I want you to try and answer it. If they've stumped you, that's okay. Okay? I want y'all to ask the questions that you really have that you would be asking in class. And so just like in class where I would let the presenters answer, but I'd also help you if you're missing something or if you're just struggling on how to say it. So that's a place that again, I can jump online and answer the discussion questions with you after you've answered them. So that's why we kind of have these 2 due dates going of the presenter puts it up at Sunday at 11:59, and then the audience answers by 11:59 on Wednesday, so that then the presenters can get back on Thursday and answer the questions, and then I can help answer them, so that hopefully I will get more information, and so we answer the questions as we go. That way you kind of get that whole idea of this one theory in that 1 week. So what do you have to put in your PowerPoint presentation? Areas to be included, but not limited to, because there might be some things that are important that aren't listed here that have to do specifically with your theory, is who are the key figures and founders? Okay, I'm going to use one that I know nobody has. So psychoanalytic theory, Sigmund Freud, right? Basic assumptions of the underlying approach and key concepts essential to the theory. Again, if I'm talking about psychoanalytic theory, I'm going to say that id, ego, and superego theory, or approach within that theory, is one of the key concepts. So you're going to have to answer those kind of questions. What are the most important goals for therapy outcomes? So what are they really conscious of working on within your theory? Client-therapist relationship related to the outcomes. If it's psychoanalytic, Sigmund Freud was actually a medical doctor. He was a psychiatrist. So he was very directive, and also in the late 1800s. So men were more directive, so he was directive. There are other theories that believe the client should be directive and the therapist just leads. So we need to know which one your theory of the week does. What are the techniques from the model? What's the big important stuff? So again, if I'm looking at psychoanalysis, then the technique is laying on the couch and doing stream of consciousness, right? How is it applied? Which client populations is it used with? What kind of settings? Is it inpatient, outpatient, something different? What's going on there? And what kind of problems is it famous for treating? Um, so Freud thought he was treating a lot of hysteria. Um, we would call that now like anxiety. Um, what does your theory say? What does it think it is? So then what are the major strengths of the theory and the major shortcomings of the theory from a diversity perspective? So if I look at Freud, I could say that psychoanalysis or psychoanalytic theory, one of its strengths is that it really, with the stream of consciousness sitting on the couch, it lets the client kind of go wherever they want in their therapy. But one of the shortcomings is that it was developed in the late 1800s when women weren't considered quite equal as citizens, and so some things might not be favorable to women. The other thing that I probably want to be aware of is that Freud had a fine white dust covering his desk. Cocaine was legal back then, so you never know how much of his theories were developed when he wasn't sober. So sometimes when things seem a little bit strange, it may be because of that. So what's the most significant contribution of this approach? And what's the most significant limitation? So those are some areas that you definitely want to include, but there may be other things that you want to include too. Then there's the applied demonstration part. You want to show your audience how a therapist would use this theory. You may want to role play how to use it. You may want to find a video that's already online and add in the link of of a famous person showing how to use this theory. Which it's any choice up to you. You can use creativity for how you want to do the applied demonstration, and you can use creativity for the audience interaction. Excuse me. It's not Corona, I swear. I'm just talking too long. Find a way to interact with your audience. Creativity is encouraged. Remember, your objective here is to help the audience learn the important parts of this theoretical components. In the past, people have done games. They've done little mini quizzes. They might have did role plays. Definitely had a lot of discussion. So what is going to help your audience and what can you do online with your audience where you're going to put it online and then after, they will have responded by Wednesday night at 11:59. So if you need to, you can go back and respond again. Also, make sure you give them that invitation to ask you tons of questions. Like I said, I'll be there to help you with the question part. So we'll make sure that the whole class doesn't miss any significant parts of the theory that way. So during the presentation, each group member should present on which area they researched, and you're graded separately. That way, if you end up with a person who doesn't quite work as hard as you are, then it doesn't hurt your grade. So there's a pretty simple rubric here about the information, the presentation, and the applied demonstration. So all of this stuff is in D2L. Let's see if we can go back there, if it's still here. If you go under activities and go to assignments, and then you click on presentation, mine looks a little bit different from yours because see, mine is wanting to grade you, but this will come up under your assignments under presentation. You will see this thing that says see attachments here. Here's the actual assignment that we just reviewed. Here's the assignments of who's working with whom. I'm going to leave it to y'all to connect. If you need email addresses or something like that, let me know and we'll work on that. But I know a lot of you already know each other. And then here's the how to do the YouTube instructions. So everything is kind of down here connected in so that you can get it easily. So the other major assignment is the paper. And the paper you are going to do individually. And let's see. It does go through Turnitin, so you'll see it that way. The paper is due July 27th, 2020. It has to be submitted online through D2L, typed in an APA format. And it's due by 11:59 that night, July 27th. So I give you the whole day that I possibly can. It's worth 100 points. So there is a case study. It reads like a diary. It's not really a study because you're the one who's going to be studying it at the moment. So there's a case down here at the bottom of this about this man named Leroy. So you're going to take Leroy's story and you're going to assess and apply these 5 theories to it. You have to do all 5 of them. Using each theory, you have to assess and apply the theory to the case provided. What you're going to notice about these 5 theories are they're the 5 theories that nobody in class is doing a group presentation on. So this is how you're going to learn about these, is you have to go look at these 5 chapters yourself and apply them to this case. So it really is concentrating on making sure you have an idea of how to apply the theories to your individual clients when you get them. So the easiest way to do this is in your paper, first do psychoanalytic theory, answer all the questions about psychoanalytic theory, then go on to reality choice theory, answer everything about it, then go to behavioral theory. So use it as 5 different sections of your paper. That's the easiest way to do it to make sure that you don't miss any of the required content for one particular theory or another. Okay, so you're going to explain the theory, how it would approach the case, what kind of interventions would be used, what the social worker would be expected to do. You want to make sure that you explain the theory's beliefs, perform the assessment while explaining the theory's viewpoints, and explain the change effort based on the theory. You have to do it for each theory. So you're not choosing out of these 5 theories, you're doing it for each one of them. So you're going to use every one of them. So you're going to write the paper as if you're writing a professionally worded report about the client, because I want you to get used to it. There's not a minimum number of pages because it depends on what you pull out of this case, and what each theory says of what's important is going to determine how much you write it. And when you have to do these professional reports for work, they're not going to ask you how many pages. They're not going to tell you, oh, I need a 12-page report. They're going to say, do the report. So as nerve-wracking as that may feel, I want you to get used to doing the report and just doing a good report where it's complete. So the guidelines to help you for the assessments. So for each theory, you're going to provide an overview of each theory. Then you're going to provide an assessment of the case using the theory. According to family systems theory, Leroy, and then whatever. Okay, you're going to do that for every theory. You're going to provide an overview of the individual patterns, again, related to the theory. What does the theory think is important about what information you have about this client? What does the theory think about what's important about the familiar patterns? Okay, some theories may not look at the past, other theories do look at the past. You got to tell us which patterns are important and which ones aren't. So that's what I'm looking for in this paper, is what is this theory going to use as you go through each theory. Provide what each theory focuses on, like within it. So cognitive behavioral theory would focus on Leroy's cognitions. So here's where in this thing, Leroy says X, Y, and Z that shows his cognitions. And then you're going to explain how the theory would intervene. Well, what would cognitive behavioral theory say that we should do with Leroy? I use cognitive behavioral because it's not on this list of these 5 up here. Okay, so the paper is worth 100 points. That means each theory is worth 15 points. That's 75 points total, and then 25 points for APA style and grammar. You got to learn to write well, and you got to learn to write in a way that it could go to court and it would work out okay. So that's the paper assignment. It's due the week before the end of class, so you have all semester to work on it. But remember, this is a short semester. So again, it's in here under activities. Everything else will be under content. So every week you will always have that assignment question thing right up there if you need it, but you can look under this discussion thing of where somebody's going to be writing. So on week 3, it'll start with their discussion. They'll put their links in there, and then you go from there and work on whatever they tell you to. So usually this is a really fun class. It feels a little bit more laid back because yes, you have the paper to do, but you're not doing weekly homework per se. You're learning from your classmates. So usually that's kind of a nice summer change from feeling like you have something to do every summer. Every week. You do have something to do every summer right now. So for this week, introduce yourself. Under this week 1 discussion, there's an introduce yourself. We've got some new people in class that I haven't taught before. I don't know how much you know everybody else yet or not, so I want y'all to all reintroduce yourselves or introduce yourself. If you have any questions about these assignments, go into this assignment questions, type them in there. I'll respond as fast as I can. And then also there's gonna be a link in here under this video lecture. This is also where this link is. I'm gonna do chapter 1 and 2 this week, and then next week we'll do chapter 3 in the Code of Ethics. So I hope we're gonna have a great summer. I hope things are going well for you, and we will go from there. Take care.